What is up, everyone? As you can see, we're doing something very different today. Tim and I are going to do our very first watch along on the channel.
That's right. This is a first of its kind segment for Variant. Watch-alongs from home.
Right. As you guys know, everyone's pretty much quarantined right now around the world, and all we're doing is watching TVs and movie and stuff. So we decided to watch something with all of you. So yesterday on Twitter, we made a poll of what episodes of Batman the Animated Series we should watch with you guys. And you guys, almost by like a landslide, Heart of Ice won. So that's what we're going to be watching today.
Very understandable. Mr. Freeze, classic episode.
For sure. I've seen this episode, I don't even know how many times, definitely at least 10 times, maybe more. So, but I love it so much that I'm very excited to watch it again. It's easily, you know, top 10 best episodes for the entirety of the series.
Yeah, without question. It's definitely one of the best. And we're going to be watching this on DC Universe subscription. So when we're ready to go, we're going to kind of do a little countdown, and then we're just going to synchronize watches, if you will. And we'll all watch it together. We're all doing this anyway, so we're just going to do it together for the first time.
For sure. So both Tim and I already have it queued up at the beginning, so you guys could pause the video now and get everything set up, whether you have the DVD, the Blu-ray, or the DC Universe app. Just pull up the episode, pause it at the very beginning, the first second, and then we're just going to tell you when to press play.
So we're going to be talking throughout, obviously, and giving our opinion on different things throughout the show. But I'm ready whenever you're ready, Arris, so count us off.
Well, as they can see right now, I got my Batman the Animated Series action figure by my side because it was right there. I just had to pull it since it only seemed fit. So he's going to be sitting...
I didn't know we were bringing mascots.
Dude, yeah, man. This is freaking BTAS. This is the end-all, be-all for me.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. I feel underprepared now.
All right. But with that said, I guess we'll do a countdown, a 3, 2, 1, if you will.
Yeah, and can we acknowledge for real quick the miraculous earphones change that I just had?
Because someone forgot to change their headphones.
I forgot to change my... I didn't forget to change. I forgot to charge my my headset. So it just powered down. So now I'm switched to my my AirPods.
All right. With that said, again, pause it, cue it up on your DVD, Blu-ray, DC Universe app, whatever, and we'll do a countdown of 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to press play from the very beginning. We're going to watch the opening credits and everything, because that's the only way to do this. If you're going to do it, you got to do it right.
100%.
All right. So, ready? 3, 2, 1, play. Now, can we just talk about how, like, this is basically, or for me, like the best opening sequence for any animated show ever?
Yes. That music made me come running like no other show could when I was young. As soon as you heard it, you just knew something epic was about to go down. Dude,
it's that Shirley Walker, score there. It is so good.
That Danny Elfman inspiration.
Yep. It's basically all it really is when you think about it is just another interpretation of the Elfman Tim Burton score for Batman.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And what's crazy is, I don't know if a lot of people know, but this whole opening sequence with the red and the rooftop, this is actually what got the show picked up. Like Bruce Timm, this whole opening sequence, this is what he made to pitch to Warner Brothers and the higher ups to approve the series, and then they went back, finalized it, and it became the intro.
Is that right? I did not know that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Wow, that's awesome.
And these title cards too, I love these things. Like, this is such an old school thing to do.
It is.
Like,
it has such a vintage flair to it. I don't know about you, but I love watching this episode around Christmas time.
Because of the snow.
Anything with Mr. Freeze. It just feels Christmassy for some bizarre reason.
Right. I love Mr. Freeze's voice too.
Yeah, it's like Frankenstein almost.
Yeah. Fun fact about this, Bruce Timm actually wanted Anthony Hopkins to do Mr. Freeze's voice, but they ended up getting Michael Ansara is his name, I believe. And yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. He did a great job. It's like vintage, almost monster movie-esque.
For sure, yeah. Which is kind of like this whole series in general, right? With the whole, like, that whole noir. That's why it's so classic. Like, it has that Fleischer Superman feel. That it's got that very dark palette, that noir vibe.
It also kind of aids towards making it timeless.
100%.
You can watch it in almost any era and it works.
Right, like if this was like they were to pitch it like this was a brand new series coming out next month, I'd be like, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing is the aspect ratio, because even now that they went back and made it HD,
Yeah.
it's clearly still, you know, like that square box format.
I don't know about you. This is also one of my favorite versions of Alfred.
For sure, for sure. And then obviously Kevin Conroy as Batman, as we're seeing him right now, and looking at stuff in the Batcave on the Batcomputer, like the Batman. Like he is Batman.
As far as like vocally, I think for most of us that are fans of Batman and have been since childhood, at least, you know, from the 90s on, Kevin Conroy's voice is Batman no matter what.
For sure. I know when I read comic books, like I hear all the voices from the series. So like Kevin Conroy is Batman, you know, Mark Hamill's a Joker whenever I read a comic book.
I think that they should just allow him to dub every Batman film, like from the past, like all the Tim Burton. Batman
Right, just go back.
Have him, just go backwards and just have him dub all of them. Just release the Kevin Conroy edition.
Dude, we're seeing the Batmobile here in a chase. That Batmobile is quite possibly my favorite Batmobile.
It is, alongside the original Tim Burton, Michael Keaton Batmobile. Those two are my favorites for sure.
Here we go, Mr. Freeze, ice in the floor, Batman slurping around.
You know he's got a tool in the shed. There it goes. Grappling hook around the corner. Classic Batman.
Who needs traction control when you got a grappling hook?
I guess it's better than the Batman and Robin version where they just broke out like bat skis.
Right.
Bat ice skates.
I love the sound of his ice gun too. I think that's the sound they use. The sound effect is freaking awesome.
Yeah, it kind of it's a little Star Trek-ish almost.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that voice is so cool. Like that, like you said, that really monster robotic type of voice.
Yeah, it reminds me of we actually just watched Dracula, classic Dracula, the other night.
Right, right.
I'm just getting all those classic monster movie vibes. The design of Mr. Freeze's suit also is just such a good. They pulled so much from like Frankenstein, that monster vibe.
Mm-hmm. Well, every design in this series is just so timeless because it's simple yet effective, like everything.
Yep.
Like it's not too fancy.
Yeah, he looks great as an action figure too because of it.
Right. Yep.
Like
which I have by my side.
You don't have the Mondo, do you?
I have the Mondo 12-inch Batman, not the Freeze.
Okay, that's the one I'm looking at. The Mondo 12-inch Freeze.
Yeah, I want it though. If that means anything.
Was that like a hint for a gift? Like, yeah, Christmas isn't too far, Tim.
It's only $150. It's fine. What's crazy too is his red eyes, like those red goggles he's wearing. That became like super iconic. I mean, this version of Mr. Freeze became the definitive version of Mr. Freeze. So, but we'll talk about that when we start getting into his origin later in this episode.
He should have been more careful. I love that.
So good.
He turned the one dude borderline into the abominable snowman. Just two blocks of ice.
And this right here, man, like this is a kid's cartoon. And they're straight up like alluding to leaving this guy for dead, essentially.
We've talked about it before. That's actually, it just still to this day, it stands out to me as I just so appreciate the fact that they did not talk down to us at our age when they were making this. They gave us a good classic Batman, but also, you know, relatively complex stories that had some, you know, some darker elements, and they kind of really took us along for the journey, and they really didn't pull that many punches, relatively speaking.
For sure. And then here we see Batman obviously saving him so he doesn't get frostbite and lose his limbs. Mr. Freeze is like, nah, you're gonna lose your legs and possibly, die because of infections and all that stuff.
Enjoy your icy nubs.
Speaking of Frankenstein type influences.
I was about to say, dude, Frankenstein for days.
It's so good though. Like even the sound effects. Look, even Batman isn't immune to colds. Sniffling over there.
You should be wearing a mask. You might have coronavirus.
Look at that. Boom. Batman saved his legs.
Bat saved.
That sneeze. Oh my God. That's hilarious. I've seen this episode, like I said, countless amount of times, and I don't know why that it was extra funny to me this time. One of my favorite things, so this is we're seeing Bruce Wayne now, is how Kevin Conroy said that, Bruce Wayne is the disguise. Because a lot of people that Batman Bruce Wayne dresses up at night. So you would think like, oh, Batman's the disguise. He's like, no. He played Bruce Wayne and Batman as if Bruce Wayne was the disguise and Batman is who Bruce really is. You know what I mean? He's able to show his true colors in the cowl. I thought that was really, really interesting to, for someone to play it that way, have the mindset of being like, nope, the actual real person in the day-to-day life, that's the disguise. Him being the Bat, that's who he really is.
It works so well. And I have to say, too, Kevin Conroy, I think what made him such a definitive Batman was that he was one of the few that pulled off the voice for Bruce Wayne and for Batman, both very differently, but also so perfectly. Like each one
just
is
subtle
totally
changes.
Believable. Yeah, just totally believable. And it just fits the character on each side of his personality or his persona so perfectly. Batman out.
Batman. He had to get a tissue for his runny nose.
He's off to get a vaccine.
Oh, there we go. Got Freeze watching on a frozen TV.
He's just lonely,
So good. I like the whole how they're all wearing like Eskimo jackets.
Yeah. It had just like all of it just instantly takes you back to when you were a kid on Saturday morning.
Yes.
Or in the afternoons coming home from school or whatever.
I so badly want them to bring this back, even for just one season. Like give us one more animated season. Or even an animated movie. How smart would that be?
Like Disney's doing stuff like that left and right. How smart would that be for Warner Bros. DC Universe to introduce a DC Universe Batman the Animated Series exclusive, like one last season or something like that?
I'd faint. That's what would happen. I'd faint.
But that would be a huge boost to their subscription. I know if I didn't have it, I would get it just for that.
For sure. So and Kevin Conroy would come back. Like he'd be like, yep, I'm in.
I would say almost the entire cast would. They all clearly love their time spent on that series.
Can we just talk about how Bruce Wayne is, disguising himself as a blonde right now?
He's like, they do say blondes have more fun.
It's kind of off-putting seeing him with blonde hair. I don't like it.
It's the frat boy version of Bruce Wayne. Boy band version. And boom, right back to Batman.
Exactly. I love how he's just like, the series constantly just shows him in the dark. Like, there's so many times where you just see the cape draped over his whole body and you don't see anything else. And it's like, yes, Batman lurks in the shadows.
Yeah. Well, they also just captured that kind of vintage noir detective style so well with like the darkness, the shadows, the blue contrasting off the
Mm-hmm.
black. Just really, really, and with the red backdrops and undertones, it's just so clean. It's so good.
Oh, this is where we're getting Frieza's origin. This is it.
And this origin is unique to the Batman the Animated Series.
This version?
This version of it, yes.
Yeah, this is what's crazy. Everyone knows by now, you know, his origin. Essentially, he just wants to bring his wife back to life. But it became the definitive Mr. Freeze origin. Like before this episode, Mr. Freeze was a lame character. Like legitimately, he wore like a green and pink like, you know, suit that no one really cared about. This is the episode that actually like made Mr. Freeze.
Right. And that's really what I meant. It redefined the character. It's unique. It's everything that we know and love about Mr. Freeze now in our generations. It's all stems from this episode.
For sure. Yep. It's kind of crazy in that.
Yeah. It really speaks to the, you know, just how important this series actually became to the Batman mythos.
For sure. It's crazy to think that, you know, when doing this, because like obviously Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, the people who were involved and wrote this episode, didn't create Mr. Freeze, but in a way they did. You know, they recreated him for sure, and because they made people care about him. So like you said, you tell people about Mr. Freeze, they're gonna think this Mr. Freeze. Most people are not gonna think about, you know, old school green pink suit wearing Mr. Freeze.
Got him.
I love the snowflakes too that we constantly see throughout.
Snow, yeah.
Batman hanging upside down like a bat.
So good. I do believe so.
The swift hand of vengeance.
Oh man, I swear. I need a freaking bowl of popcorn right now and a Christmas tree lit in the backdrop.
I love when Batman's villains compliment him. It just shows like there's like because characters like Mr. Freeze and Ra's al Ghul and stuff, they have, you know, respect for him even though they're at odds with one another.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things is when they refer to him as detective, like Ra's al Ghul does.
And this right here, this monologue that he's like, again, this is just speaks to that as a very adult thing to say. You know what I mean? Because you got to remember, this is for kids and stuff. And he's basically telling Batman, like, imagine what it would be like to, you know, not feel the warmth of your wife's hand or just walking with her in the park. Like, these are very adult themes. I think that's what makes it stand the test of time.
It really does. It really does. And again, I just, to this day, it's the fact that I can sit down and I can watch this now, many, many, many years later, you know, with my sons and daughters. And it's just as enjoyable now for them as it was for me when I first saw it. And I enjoy it just as much today with them as when I first saw it, when it originally aired. It just really speaks to, you know, the passion that went into the project and the series and how seriously they took it. And like I said, I just respect the crap out of the fact that they didn't just look to make a kids show. They sought to make a good Batman series.
For sure. Yep. It's, I'll go as far as say, I don't know if we'll get a series or even anything from Batman that has this much of an impact on his mythos overall. You know what I mean?
I would agree.
Because, you know, we've gotten so many Batman content and so many cartoons. You got The Batman, you know, it's just Batman the Brave and the Bold. It's countless movies. But, you know, as far as contributing to his mythos the most, creating new characters, redefining origins, Batman the Animated Series is far and above everything else.
I agree 100%. Yeah. The only other series that you could say that has really hit as in terms of impact, it's in the same ballpark. It's still not as strong in my opinion as Batman Beyond.
Right, but
and that's created by the same exact, and it's a different Batman, one. And two, it's it was also created by the same group.
Yeah, it's literally just an extension. It's just later on in the story.
Yeah, it's all part of the same thing. It's just a different series, but that's those creators, Paul Dini and the group that surrounded them, Bruce Timm, they just did such an incredible job, and the fact that it stemmed off to several different comics. Now with Batman, the adventures continue, coming back, and the entire team coming back to keep the story going. I mean, you can only hope that somehow translate the story maybe they're telling in the comic is going to translate into, like you said, one more series for Batman the Animated Series.
For sure. I'm hoping, the success of the book, if the book is super successful, that's what it does, because Mad Love was a comic book before they adapted into a TV episode for this series. So, there's always a chance. If there's the demand, if they see demand for it, they're in it to make money. So they'll do it if they know they can make money off of it.
100%. And can we also say that was dope what Freeze just did?
Right, yeah.
He broke the head off of a fire hydrant and then rode the ice up into a window.
Right.
Like a boss.
The cold eyes of vengeance are upon you, Boyle.
Nice. As a little bit of Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight there with the Joker busting up the party.
You gotta wonder, like, how many of the, these people who do other Batman movies and series, they take inspiration from stuff like this. Because, while doing research, they're reading the comics, watching this type of stuff. So they're like, yeah, I'll adapt that into the movie, Yeah.
And a lot of these guys that have created the more recent Batman films, they're all from our generations, and they're, they watched this like we did.
Especially Matt Reeves is pulling lots of information. Yeah. Matt Reeves is pulling lots of inspiration from this series, so I'm curious. Yeah. I love how he punched his helmet, but nothing happened.
Yeah, nothing. He hit him, and he did like it's punched to the chest, like hitting a brick. The music throughout this, the score throughout this series also is all so good. They really didn't skip on anything.
No, what's crazy is this, you're mentioning the music and the score, it's all a live orchestra for every single episode. They actually went, they did it as if it was a movie and would actually score these episodes like they were feature films, which is crazy.
Yep. Yeah, man.
I love this too. Because that makes total sense too as far as science goes, right? If you put something really hot on something extremely cold, it's going to crack it. How many times have you taken a glass out of the freezer, put it under hot water, and it shattered?
I think that has only happened to me once.
I think it's happened to me a handful of times because I was a kid. Yeah. As a kid, I don't think I did. This origin is just so cool because even though he's doing all these horrible stuff, you feel for him because he's not doing this stuff because he wants to take over the world, because he wants money or fame or any of that stuff. He literally just wants his wife back.
Yeah.
And this end scene right here is gonna,
this is where it
drives it home.
Here. Yep. The vocal performance for him is so good.
And the music.
Yeah.
God, I love this episode. Oh, this series is so good. Interesting enough to note for this.
We leave the prison cell with the snow. It's snowing inside. It's so good.
In Batman watching.
Yeah, just watching over him through a window.
Interesting enough, I was going to say, Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, the episode ends. But for that last sequence, they originally wanted Mr. Freeze's tears to turn into snowflakes, but it ended up not being used, and then later on it was used in Batman and Robin. So I thought that was really interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, when you
But there
put
you
it
have
that
it.
way,
Yeah.
maybe it was best.
But there you have it, the first watch along on Variant.
As we wrap up the episode, I think that this episode is just such a great example of why Batman the Animated Series, as we've been saying throughout the episode, is such a classic series that has stood the test of time and is just as fun and interesting and complex to watch now as it was when we were watching it all together as when we were kids during the Saturday mornings or the afternoons after school. It's just fantastic from start to finish, from the music and the score to the vocal performances to the animation. It's just all so good. And I know, Arris, I'm not even touching how you feel on it.
Dude, no, this episode, like, I've seen this episode so many times and I still love it. Mr. Freeze is obviously one of my favorite Batman villains, especially the recreation of him for this series. And I still feel like a little kid every time I watch it. And, the people who give awards for TV shows, the Emmys, agreed, because this episode actually won a Daytime Emmy Award for the writing because of how well done it was. So that says everything right there, that, even everyone behind the scenes was like, dang, this is some solid writing, especially for a kid's cartoon.
For real. And again, for me, and I just can't say it enough. It's so cool that we got this because, you see, like we have kids and we see this different superhero series, including Batman series that come out now, and they're good, but it's just totally different.
For sure. For sure.
Even the music, like you don't see them where they're like they're scoring these with a live orchestra and all of these sort of. It's the same kind of attention to detail. It's just different. I'll just say it like that. It's just different. And so I'm just so thankful that for our generation that we got this series and now it's still around to enjoy for generations. It's dope. So to Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, a thank you.
For sure. Yeah, it's one of those series that, I won't say it's never going to be topped because I feel like that wouldn't be fair. But I will say that it will be extremely, extremely hard to match or top it. You know what I mean? This is a high bar. And it's gone on for so long.
You have to wonder, like, what production company is going to offer the same budget and to want to put the same kind of effort and attention to detail into an animated series like this.
Well, even just the universe this spawned, because you have Batman the Animated Series, and then it turned into the new Batman Adventures, but that's just the beginning. It was so successful and so well received. We got, Static Shock, Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, the Zeta Project, Superman the Animated Series, and so on and so forth. So, this literally this was like the MCU before the MCU, just animated and DC.
Yeah, very much so. And it's interesting too, because you would think that especially in the age of the MCU, that people could see, someone might see the value and like, hey, we could continue to build out these franchises as an animated format, similar to what they did with Batman the Animated Series and everything that followed it. But like you said, I just don't know if we're ever going to see anything that matches it.
No, but you know what? It's released in HD glory now, so I will keep watching it and rewatching it.
That's right. So this is just the first of hopefully a few of these, because you and I both can watch as much Batman as the animated series as you guys are interested in.
That is an understatement. If it was up to me, the whole Variant channel would just be Batman the animated series themed every episode.
Well, going forward, we've got a whole bunch of things that we would like to do, including maybe watching some superhero films or animated series that aren't so good, just for fun. So let us know in the description below what you guys would like to see or watch along with us, and we'll set up the next one here pretty soon.
I will definitely say that, and again, I am more than happy to do more BTAS watch-alongs, if that wasn't apparent already.
And we talked about too doing maybe some classic Superman, some of the original cartoon series, something like that. So again, just let us know what you would like to see, and we'll work on the next one.
For sure. But with that said, we'll see you guys next time when we talk about all things comics.